Welcome to our podcast. This week's and next week's episodes are about how to nurture the seeds you've planted. This is the first part of our two-part series. We'd love to hear your thoughts in a comment, and please consider subscribing. Hello, everybody. We are back with this week's podcast. We are talking about how to nurture your planted seeds. And when we are talking about seeds, the first thing we think about is the Pleiades, the constellation of stars that is in the northern hemisphere for the most time visible in the wintertime. And in the southern hemisphere, I don't know when it's visible there. I think it's now visible there. When you look from the Andes towards the Pleiades, they see it more as a little hill of seeds. For the Andean people, the Pleiades is telling them all about abundance, because when you have seed, then you are able to have abundance of everything. They call the Pleiades also the storehouses of the seed. And when you look in some of the ancient cities in Peru, you can see still those storehouses carved in mountains. That has all to do how important seeds is for them. Because when you have a seed, when you plant that seed and you nurture that seed becomes a plant, and that plant will give you way more seeds than the one seed you put in the ground. And therefore, the next year you have more seeds to be able to put in the ground. So it is a sign how you become more and more and more abundant from everything you want in your life. Everything has to do with planting your seeds and nurturing them so that it becomes the most beautiful plant and can carry the most beautiful, strong seeds. And when after a few years of planting seeds, you getting way more seeds than you personally need for yourself and for your family. So then the art of giving in Aini. And so you got so much and you can give from your heart again in Aini to those people who haven't enough seed. And you can give those people also the gift of abundance. And you can put about anything in life, you can put in that seed. Is that seed love? Do you want to have abundance of love? That's possible, but you have to nurture. Money, food, everything you want to have abundant, you can plant a seed for it. Robin, do you want to go on?
Absolutely. I love the Andean explanation and connection of the Pleiades. I personally have had a connection with Pleiades forever, and I want to add a little bit of maybe a northern hemisphere take on the Pleiades as well. They are one of the primary star nations responsible for seeding humanity. You know, they planted seeds of humanity here in Pachamama. And of course, that's us. So, um, the Pleiades, we'll be talking a little bit later about astrology, and it's very central to the astrology that's going on right now. And I can't wait to get to that. I'm so excited about doing this. There's a lot to say about it. But here in the northern hemisphere, we see the Pleiades. It's almost in the same shape as the Big Dipper, the Great Bear. So I found it when Puma told us about the Andean version. I found it interesting that we have like a scoop. We see them as a scoop, like pouring out the seeds, and the seeds landed in the southern hemisphere. That's how my that's how that's how I put it together. And I would also like to say that the seeds, we think about seeds, and as you're saying, we don't have to add anything. The seed knows what it's doing. It knows how to become a tree, or how we don't have to teach it how to do that. It knows what it's going to do, and it follows an innate knowing of unfolding, and in tandem with the sun, the moon, the cycles together, it draws the nutrients out of the soil at the proper time, and everything is just this beautiful cosmic dance, and it's just an opening of the seeds. There's nothing that we do to make that happen other than to nurture it with love. And if you dissect a seed, and you open it up and you look inside, you'll see there's actually a little embryo in there, surrounded by food, surrounded by an outer shell, exactly as the baby in the womb of a human being. And so we are those seeds, and the seeds we plant are the same seeds. It's just a physical manifestation of that. Um, so as far as the Pleiades go, I wanted to add that layer, and I'm not really sure if most people dissect seeds, but that is what a seed looks like on the inside, and it comes with all the information it needs. Everything we as seeds, everything that a seed needs is contained within, and the point of the seed is to reach maximum open, the maximum openness where you just become and you bloom into what you already were. You just bring it out. And that's by following and allowing and being in harmony with the natural cycles. Like if you think about when you plant a seed, sometimes you plant a seed, not the perfect conditions are not always out. Like sometimes it rains too much, but how does the seed survive that? We don't know, but it does. It does. There's got to be some mechanism that makes it not absorb too much water, makes it not absorb too much of the nutrients, you know? So we as seeds, we need to operate the same way. We are not trying to fix our seed. We are not trying There's nothing to correct about the seed that we are. We want to move into a place of being in harmony with what's inside and what's outside. That harmonious relationship is what causes the 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 opening, the widest opening in its natural timing.
For me, for instance, the desert is a beautiful way to look at what we are trying to say here. Is that sometimes in once in so many years, when the conditions are right, when it has rained in the desert, for instance, then the whole desert is blooming with all kinds of beautiful flowers. And that is possible because those seeds are just in rest and waiting till that condition is coming there that they can bloom. And luckily for us, um, our system is not a desert, or at least it shouldn't be. When you nurture your inner seed, so your soul seed, you for many people who are not connecting with their soul is a kind of a seed in the desert, is waiting till it get nurtured well enough so that that soul can sprout and can bloom, and you can become the most beautiful flower you are. And indeed, so many people try too hard to do something with the seed, as if so we have learned to work very hard, to do so much. Our latest podcasts were about being and not doing. We have learned so much to do a lot, and to become a better person, and learn this, and have that something else is going better, and we have some bad things going on. What can we learn about it? Uh, that's we want to do so much, but that seed is way wiser and knows every little bit of you, and knows when it can sprout. You have to start thinking in the opposite direction. You have to start to listen what kind of nurturing this soul seed of yours needs. And so that is listening, is not doing, and is listening. You can do, for instance, when your soul seed is asking, relax more, then you can relax more. It's a little bit doing. It's not doing a lot, but relaxing most of the time mean relaxing here is not relaxing with your body, what your soul seed needs. Um, uh, I still get the picture in my head what Robin just said when you dissect and seed, that it looked like a little embryo. And for me is, when you look at embryos in female bodies, that's the way we should handle seeds. We just let it grow. The woman is feeding herself, hopefully with healthy food. Um, is doing right things, is massaging her belly, is giving all kind of nurturing, and let that embryo grow and grow and grow. But the moment that embryo is born and becomes a baby, we think it has to learn a lot, and we think it's an being that is so stupid as what, but it's still that very beautiful being when it's born, and knows we don't need to learn that much. Yeah, when you want to cross the road, yeah, you have to learn the child to look left and right and left, depends on where you live in the world. And so we try to learn the seed that the child is, try to learn all kinds of things, and what is not important, and therefore that child goes further and further away from the knowledge of the seed what a child has, and uh, get disconnected with it. And when it want, or he or she wants to connect with it afterwards, then it look at us, older people. We have not learned that also, and how much work it is to connect with it again. When we are more aware of it, that, and especially the children that are born now are so intelligent, are so smart, but don't see intelligent as something what you learn in school. That is remembrance. That as people who are good in school are good in remembering. That is something else than intelligence. Intelligence is inner knowing. It's knowledge. And the more and more the knowledge becomes a part of you, the more wisdom it can become. And there are so many wise little children in this earth. And I'm almost begging, please, please let those little people, let them keep their knowledge, let them keep their wisdom. Don't take it away from them. And um, um, by let them keeping their knowledge, their path is so much easier. And yes, for you parents, sometimes it is a little bit difficult, because such a intelligent being that is called your children, and you should know more, and they say things that you think, oh my God, I've never learned that. I don't know where they are talking about. Don't make a problem of that. Just enjoy it, Robin.
I want to give a visual of our embryo seed. Okay, we receive the seed with loving hands. So now I'm talking about how you nurture a seed. Okay, you receive that seed with loving hands. You plant that seed with loving hands into the darkness, into the soil, and you allow it to sleep and dream. And that seed within itself contains all of the potential and all of the knowledge, all possibilities. When you water that seed, water as an element, it symbolizes our emotions. Yeah. So when you water your children, you're loving your children. You're allowing water flows. You allow them to sprout. And when we plant a seed, we don't dig it up and see how it's doing. You're going to interrupt the process, right? So you allow, and you provide a space, and you just continue to give the loving prayers. And when you're looking at yourself as the seed, you want to do the same thing. You came in with all of your potentials and all of your possibilities within you, just waiting to unfold under the right circumstances. That's the key. Under the right circumstances. You want everything to be optimal. And if anybody's running around micromanaging somebody else's process, that's not optimal conditions for that seed. And that's including yourself. So all this brain work that we do to ourselves is not necessary. We need to move away from that, from knowledge to wisdom, from knowledge to wisdom. And we we okay, like, as a seed, for me, I was born in Vermont. I live in California. So I've traveled as a seed. I've traveled far from my native conditions. So what was optimal there is not happening here. In Vermont, we have very clear seasons. Here, it's always summer. You have to you have to keep track of when, there's very tiny changes that indicate seasonal changes here. So that changes the conditions, but seeds adapt. Yeah, like we have palm trees here in California. They are not native to California. We brought them over. Well, look how they flourished to the point everybody associates palm trees with California. Yeah, so seeds are very adaptable and flexible and will change to the conditions that are around them. We don't really have to micromanage that, but to pull that out of yourself is a wonderful thing. Acknowledge that it's there. Your seed will will just innately reach for warmth to provide love, right? That's what we do. Seed reaches for the light. It reaches for love. It reaches for warmth. Our children reach for warmth, love. Give them some hugs. Let them know it's okay. They don't have to have everything figured out. They do need to be allowed to follow their own inner calling, though. Not have if you plant a seed and you decide, oh, it needs when you planted your seed, maybe you forgot to put a little bit of fertilizer or something. You come later in the cycle and you just pile up a bunch of fertilizer on top of that seed because, oh, I forgot, let me make up for that. That's not going to help, right? The seed has already adapted to that, and just allow that unfolding to happen. And that is us too. We come through conditioning from our cultures and our families and so on and so on. And we've adapted to all of that, and then, when we get to places like I'm assuming where most of our listeners are, is you've realized you have a lot of conditioning that really doesn't speak to your truth. It does not speak to your inner knowing and your inner potentials that you came. Your inner potentials have been squished, right? So now how do you open it up? What you allow in all of this self-care stuff. It's not necessarily about, go take a bath and go to the movie and take yourself out on a date. Great, you could do those. That's nice. But most of that self-care, how I approach self-care is what you're doing in here. How do you talk to yourself, and do you feel guilty? Because I hear this thing a lot, guilty pleasures. What is that? You do not feel guilty about don't do that to yourself, right? So that you're doing it to yourself. So self-care for me, we need to turn it to the inner journey and not the outer journey so much. Um and you just get back in touch with. Now, do you have to go, oh, but what was my purpose? What is my potential? What was my height? How do I find that? You be. It didn't go anywhere. It's still in there. And the more you stop all that, the more the wisdom rises. It just is. And that's when you on your nature walks and your synchronicities and all the things we've been talking about on the podcast. That is that is the nurturing side to the self-care, where you're getting back in touch. You're going into the seed that you came here as, and you're just removing the outer coating. Now, are you removing it and pushing it off? No, seeds don't do that. They don't do that. They reach for the warmth. So you reach for the things that feel good inside. Feel good means you feel in harmony with what's around you. Not that what's around you has to change, but you are in harmony within and without. and that pushes up. It gives you the persistence and the resilience to push through and crack open that shell. Just like a a fetus, a baby. There's no calendar that says, "Hey, this is okay. Now this has happened, this happened, this it's time for you to be born. Here's what you have to do." The baby knows how to be born. It happens. You're not gonna stop that no matter how many thoughts you throw on top of it. That baby is going to be born when that baby is ready to be born, like the seed. And like us, when we're born, we replant that seed into this energy matrix. And as a child, you're in the dark, you're dreaming your possibilities into fruition. And then you push through, right? In young adulthood, you crack open and you come out. And only here you start pushing things away, because here you realize this isn't serving me. Thank you, but I'm going in this direction, right? And then what happens with this that you pushed away? You absorb it into the roots and you transmute it to become what you need it to be.
What Robin told, I think it's beautiful. I'm completely agreeing, but I'm seeing people doing something else. I'm seeing people, the picture I get is that their seed is very deep in the soil, and they have to crawl towards that seed to find it, and they find all kinds of things that happened in their life, and they have to work on that, and they have to do a lot about that. And that isn't the way we had to do it long time ago. But the energies in this world change so much that when you connect with your own seed and let it glow, let it shine its light, then you don't need to look for it, then you can find it already. We had 20 years ago, I'm sorry, you really had to work hard to find your inner seed, your soul. But now, because the energies are so much higher, you just let your soul shine, let that seed shine and shining outward, and then you can already connect with it, and you can give it what it needs, and to can bloom even further, and you can connect it with all the energies outside, if that is earth energies or cosmic energies. Just what kind of feeding your inner seed needs, and the opening of the crust. I don't know how you call it from a seed. What you just said, Robin, at the opening.
The cross section
What did you say?
when we dissected it, or the
No,
opening of
you have the
when we
the
cracked
the
it inside.
embryo, the feeding part, and then it's surrounded by membrane. But that's a more
The shell on
the shell on the seed. Yes, the cracking happens when there can come enough light, when the light wants to go out, and the more you let it nurture with that light, the more it will crack the already forgot the shell,
Yeah.
and then then you can connect, then you can go everywhere with the energies where it wants to go to, perhaps even back home, to from which star you are coming from. This is a little bridge for Robin that she can talk about star seeds.
Okay. Yes, I so want to talk about star seeds. So we just made the we just said how the Pleiadians, the star nation of the Pleiades is one of the primary star nations to seed humanity here. We all come from the stars. We are star stuff. Our bodies constitutionally, as physiologically, mm, with the elements and the alchemical processes, we are exactly the same constitution as star matter. We are star seeds. And can I share a story? I just part of an Anishinaabe creation
Of
story.
course.
So the Anishinaabe creations, I love the stories. The Anishinaabe, I gotta settle down. I'm so excited. Okay, so the Anishinaabe creation story. Creator is a she. Creator is in the feminine principle. And um there was nothing but darkness. And in the darkness came one little spark, and as that spark evolved into more light, it came into awareness. And as it became an awareness, it became creator. When you become aware of yourself, you're the creator, right? And um, creator came into existence and saw nothing. So she sent her thoughts out. So those brain waves went out into the darkness. There's light going. Oh, she sent her thoughts out. So let there be light, and so now there's light. Everything was lit up within the darkness. Okay, but she noticed that none of her thoughts returned. So just her thoughts were just out there, just going and going and going forever. And so she decided to take a nap. She was waiting for something to return, and she took a nap. And when she took a nap, she dreamed of creation and everything that's in it. So the next day when she woke, she created. She gathered her thoughts and she changed them into energy, matter, okay? And then she went to sleep. Not yet, I'm sorry. And she made it into energy and matter, and on that first day, that was the the first four elements. Not the physical elements yet. Okay, so the so I remember when we talked about elements, it said I have the five elements and you have the four elements, and okay, so I'm on the essence of elements, which then the creator is the ether, is the original element, and she gathered her thoughts and made them into energy and matter and put them in the four directions. They became the four directions. I mean, elements. So with the four primordial elements, we're speaking of the essence of the physical elements. Okay, so she gathered her thoughts, made them into energy and matter. Well, when these first four elements were created, they were inert. They didn't interact. They they nothing happened. And so what she did was she took a little of her own spark and she put that little seed into each element, and then the elements became alive. And at first they didn't get along. They didn't interact well. They fought, and who wanted to be in control and who thought they should be more important, and all of this thing, until finally she's like, "You guys, you need to get it together, figure it out." And finally, after I don't know how many billions of years, the elements finally learned how to coalesce, and they got along and they were working in harmony. From there is where our elements come, the physical Pachamama that we live on today, Mother Earth. Okay. So now she's tired and she goes to sleep and she rests for that night. And on that night, oh, she gives instructions too. And she tells those first elements that their purpose is to provide for everything else that is to follow. So the elements are to provide everything. Okay, now she goes to sleep, and this time she dreams of a world filled with green things. So she wakes in the morning, she gathers more of her thoughts, and she creates the world of plants. And again, she takes that one little spark and she puts it in each plant so they become alive. And she gives them the instructions that they are to provide healing and growth for everything that is to follow. She goes to sleep again and she dreams of all the creatures in creation. She wakes up in the morning, she gathers more of her thoughts, and she creates the animals. And she puts a little seed inside each one of them, and their instructions are to provide teaching and growth for everything that is to follow. Now there's beautiful, this is where we're thinking Garden of Eden, right? All this beautiful, harmonious, everything just pristine. She sleeps and she dreams of a creature that looked like her. She wakes in the morning, she gathers more of her thoughts, she puts a little seed into each one of them. She creates humans, okay? Now, right here, I'm condensing a little bit because we go from first human to all of us, but I'm trying to demonstrate the seed part. So I'm just going to do like that. And humans, our instructions are to walk gently and respect everything that came before us and everything that is to follow. And so, in that manner, I would like it to become a realization, if possible, that it's not just symbolic that we are all related. We are literally all related. We all were given the original spark of Creator. It's what made us come to life. And when you if you hear anything like when the embryo, when we seed an embryo, what causes that? First, they've found in quantum physics, I think it is, found there's a spark of light that starts that process. It's literally been documented that there's a spark of light. That's the seed. That's cosmic mother's seed. And so all of this stuff you see on the internet, are you a star seed? Are you so special? We go, yeah, we're all special. We're here. We're all star seeds. And we came with original instructions. And so just like how we have brothers and sisters, yeah? You have the same parents and you have however many siblings, brothers, sisters, we all look different. We all act different. We all have different purposes, but we all still have that same spark, right? So the same with the plants and the animals and the elements, they are our siblings. We are all interconnected because we all contain within that original spark. We were gifted the gift of life within that seed. And so it's a physiological truth that we are all related. And I would love to bring that understanding to a more tangible thing than being a symbolic little story that people pass around. And I really want to emphasize that please don't fall prey to the, oh, are you so special because you're a star seed? We are all star seeds where we came from. That's on purpose, and we were given the gift of life altogether. Do you want to add anything to that?
What I want to add is also what you also are saying with different words is that we are the same kind. We are not exactly the same, but we are the same as the plants and the animals. We come from the same, and to have respect for every other living being in this world, for every other human living being, but also the plants and the animals. Uh, you have heard Robin say that they are all our older brothers and sisters. And so they have more wisdom because they are older than we have. And I think um, when I'm able to talk for whole humanity, but humanity would be so much better off when we would take that position, that we take the position as the youngest of all our family, all our brothers and sisters from nature, because then we take a more a place where we want to learn, where how can you live in unity with every other living being? We still try to be boss about nature because we are thinking from our head that we know how nature works, but that never in all the time that humanity was here on earth and tried to work with Mother Earth and her children this way, it never worked out well, and it never worked out in a good way. So in these new times that are coming, and we can start today with this already, is to take the place from the youngest of the whole family and ask the older brothers and sisters how we can live in unity, how we can live in respect of every living being in this whole world, from the smallest ant or even smaller animals to the biggest, to the smallest plant, to the biggest plant. And I'm looking outside and I see a big oak tree. Yeah, that are very wise trees, but that little, let me see, I see there a cherry tree. The oak tree is not more important. It has an other kind of knowledge, but it's as important as the cherry tree is. Even for us humans, a cherry tree gives more food that is better for us than the oak tree. Those, how do you call it, apricorns?
Acorns.
Acorns. We can eat them, but you have to do a lot, and you have to do a lot of soaking that all the poison is going out of it before we are able to eat it. So that oak tree, it's a very wise tree, and I like to be. When I'm honest, I'm like to sit more with that tree than to the cherry tree, because I can learn more, but therefore it's not more important. It is just another task in this world as the cherry tree. And this is for every human and every living being is this. We are all as important as anybody else. No big chief of a big company or a president of the most important. I like the way you Americans can say that you are the most important nation of this whole world.
We're number one.
You're number one, and um, um, so it is just a different function. It is not as a human or as an animal or as a plant, the one more important than the other. It's just other function, and we can learn from everybody and everything.